Hey guys, City Skylines is almost here. This is a preview episode where I'm going to talk to you about the map that I'm going to be using and run through the mods that I'm going to be using. And I wanted to do that in advance of playing the game. First of all, so that when I'm playing the game, I don't have to go through all of this stuff. It's already been explained. But also to give you a bit of advance warning so that you can let me know if there are mods or assets that you think that I should be using in the series. So I'm going to tell you about the map. I'm going to tell you about the mods that I'm going to be using, the assets that I'm going to be using, and what I'm trying to achieve in this series. So the map that I'm going to be using, so this is a beautiful map. It's called Elena Falls, and I think it's currently the most popular map of the last like 3 months. It's by Blackfire, who I'm sure a lot of you will know. He has produced some awesome maps, and this is no exception. This is a beautiful map. It's actually got some similarities with my Aquitania map in terms of some of the rough terrain and lots of coastline and islands to use. It's going to be called Wonderland. Why is it going to be called Wonderland? Because that's what I want to build. I want to build a Wonderland. I want a place that is not just beautiful, right? Not just beautiful scenery, but lots of beautiful buildings, beautiful communities, but not just beautiful, but functionally rich, so that they're places that you would want to live because there's lots to do, you know, like down on the coastlines. I want like jet skis and yacht clubs and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the map. I'm going to be using left-handed traffic. And that's about it. There's plenty of natural resources on the map. I'll show you that when we get in there. That's about it. Let's jump in and take a look. Okay, so here is the map. Let's have a little spin around so you can see. It is a beautiful place. It really is a beautiful place. And this is the starting square. Now, I'm going to be using the 81 tile mod. I'll talk more about the mods in a bit, but we're going to be using the 81 tile mod. And what I'll do is I'll actually buy the tiles that I'm going to be buying so that I can show you in more detail the whole map. But I wanted to show you first the starting area, because the starting area is kind of interesting. You've got this this big ravine over here, and we'll be talking more. This is a very special feature on the map. We'll be talking about this more in a little while. The starting area, like in terms of buildable area, there's more buildable area than you would think. We've got this road, this highway that runs up here with this very rough terrain. But literally from here, all of this, exclude this little bit here, and the rest of it is all buildable, right? And you've got this area down here. This area down here is all buildable. This is rough terrain. There's an area here which is buildable, but I'm thinking that there's probably going to be a big wind farm going up on here. There might be some stuff going on here. We'll see. Now, the resources on this map are plentiful. But you know what? Let me buy all the tiles so that I can start showing you some of the details around the rest of the map. Okay, so here is the map with all of the tiles unlocked, apart from the outside edge. And I'm probably not going to buy the outside edge tiles unless I've got some very, very specific reason for doing so. Most of the buildable areas are encompassed by these inner tiles without buying the outside. Now, I'm buying these straight up front just to show you when I actually start the series, I am going to be playing without unlimited money and without unlocks. So we're going to be playing the game legit. So that's going to make things kind of fun and interesting, and it'll be fun to kind of play the game, because the last couple of series I've done, I've been playing with like unlimited money and everything unlocked from the beginning. So this will be a little bit different. Let's zoom in and take a look around this map. Now, if we bring up let's close down the vitals. If we bring up the resources, you'll see that this map is pretty rich in resources. There's some nice big oil deposits. There's plenty of fertile land around, loads and loads of forests, and I love the way he's got the ore like in the mountainous areas. So like round here, but there's just kind of a little bit on the sort of semi-flat, so that you can actually get that industry going. But I like the way he's set up the resources on this map. Let's take a look at the actual map itself, because it is pretty damn impressive. I love the bridges that he's chosen for this. And there are lots and lots of bridges, which I love. And there's this one over here. But there are different types of bridges. These are the same, but if we look over, let's say, yeah, over here, we've got this. I love this bridge. This is really nice. Actually, if I come around the other side, you can probably see the lights coming from this side. That's beautiful. And there are lots of these, and there are lots of highway interchanges around the place. And I like the fact it's kind of interesting. There was a review. I watched a review of this map, and they were criticising these interchanges because they're not like really tightly packed together. But I actually kind of like the fact that they're not like really tightly packed together. But we will be playing around with these and improving these interchanges, I think. This one over here, this one's awesome. First of all, I love this. God knows, I mean, it's a real maze, this one. But what's better is once you get off the highway into the starting square, this is the starting square, like right here. You've got this maze of roads, and there are roads going underneath down to like this area down here. So yeah, it's interesting. Now, if we have a look, we got where's the main water source? The main water source is coming from over here. There's a big water spawner here, which is providing lots of water flow into the city. If we bring up water, you can see that we've got nice strong flow coming down here. We've got reasonable flow through here. It's a little bit stagnant down in this bottom area, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And we've got the water pollution cleanup tools to use if pollution becomes a problem down here. Eco, that's a good point. Pollution. This is going to be a very eco-friendly build. It's also going to be focused very much on mass transit. So we're going to have a bunch of different cities and towns around the place, and I want a variety. You know, I want like over here. There's a big bit of farmland over here. Maybe this is a little rural community. Like maybe over here and over here we have kind of like smaller towns, and then I want to do a big city down here. Like big tall office blocks and whatever. I may actually extend the terrain and link these two islands together to get a bigger city down here, and then have bridges out to these other islands. Okay, now let's talk about the single most important and most awesome feature of this map, and that's this valley over here. This valley here can be flooded to allow you to create a maximum capacity 1600 megawatt dam. And what you do is you can put either canals, or you can just use the terrain tools to create rivers from this river up here into this valley, and you flood it to put a river through here, and then you build a dam. Let's take a look. So as you can see, I've just done it with the terrain tools, but you can put man-made canals through here as well, which also look good. And then this river comes all the way through here, and then all you have to do is just throw in the dam, let's see, at around about that kind of level, across here. Oh, there you go. And if you play around with it and get it at the right height and the right position, you can get a full-on 1600 megawatt dam. Want to take a look? And with a full-on 1600 watt dam in place, 1600 megawatt dam, I think it looks pretty epic. And this is going to be the first major goal. The first major goal of the series is going to be to get up to a population of 8,000 so that we can unlock the hydroelectric dam, put that in place, flood this, and this is going to provide the power for like the first part of the major development, which is probably going to be developing the major city down here and putting in the transport links to the outer towns. And up here, I've thrown in the man-made canals just to kind of show you, so that you can, if you want, share your opinion about should we use man-made canals here like this, or should we just use natural terrain and just have a couple of natural looking rivers coming through here. Personally, I think probably natural rivers but I'm open to your input on that one. Right, so there you go. That is the map. Now let's take a look at the mods and assets that I'm going to be using at the start of the series. So I'm starting off with two collections, one for mods, just for mods, and a separate one for assets. I'll probably add a third collection later on in the series for vehicles, but we'll see about that when we get there. It kind of depends how many assets I end up with, which I think is going to be a lot, but we'll see. I'll put links to these collections in the video description on this video and all of the subsequent videos. But if you want to find it, if you just go to Workshop, browse collections, and then search for Skye, and then you can find any of my collections in here. So let's take a look at the mods first. So the mods. Now I've spent a lot of time going through these mods, making sure that I don't have any compatibility issues. And if you're going to suggest mods to me, first of all, don't link 100 mods to me, because I won't have time to go through them individually like that. But if you want to suggest mods, if you want to suggest 1 or 2 or 3 mods, then please feel free. Same with the assets. If you do want to submit a bunch of assets, maybe from one creator who's created a lot of appropriate buildings or vehicles or something, please put them in a collection. Just go to Workshop, browse collections, and there's a button over here for create a collection, and then you just add them to that collection, and then you can link me the collection, and then I'll take a look. Compatibility is a big issue, and I've had to load these mods up and then play test them to make sure that they all work together. So don't just in previous series I've had a lot of people throw mods at me and assets and say, oh, use this, use this, use this, and if you look in the comments from people on those assets, they say that they're broken. Right, so do a little bit of research, have a look at the comments, see what it says. Look, there's usually a document for mods telling you if there are incompatibilities. So do a little bit of research. So what mods am I going to be using? Well, first of all, the loading screen mod. Everybody should be using the loading screen mod. And I cannot understand why the guys at City Skylines, the developers, haven't included this in the base game. It speeds up loading the mods. And tells you about problems and all that kind of stuff. So everybody should be using this. The 81 tiles mod, I want to be able to get right out to the edge if I need to. So for me, the 81 tiles mod. I'm going with Daylight Classic and the AD Cooler LUT. And the reason that I'm going with this is because I'm going for a modern, verging on futuristic city. Lots of white buildings and glass and steel. This just makes those buildings look really, really nice and sharp and clean. It kind of emphasizes the white buildings because it's quite a cool grey look. Gets rid of all the yellow look that you get with a standard colour scheme, which I'm not really a fan of. If we go down, totally free camera. This makes the regular camera work like the free camera, all the time. And then the first person camera, so that we can zoom in and have rides first person, which is kind of awesome. The Chirpy Exterminator, for the first time in one of my series, I'm actually eliminating Chirpy, because let's face it, we all hate him. City Vitals, this is a great mod. This puts up this panel, which allows you can choose from a whole, well, here you go, you can choose from a whole bunch of different pieces of information about the city. So instead of having to go individually and look at what's my power consumption, what's my health, what's my water, what's my sewage, all that, it gives you them all in one panel, which is just awesome. I love that mod. Then extended building information. This just gives you some extra information about how happy your residents are about different things. So it helps you when you're trying to level up. You can see if, what's stopping them from leveling up. Is it that they're upset about fire coverage? Is it crime that's upsetting them? Is it health? So very useful mod for making sure that you can level up. And that's going to be important because I'm going to want level 5 buildings, certainly in the city centre and in most of the place, because this is supposed to be Wonderland. It's supposed to be really nice. Now, I'm going with the real-time mod. Now, the real-time mod is going to introduce more of a challenge, because the game runs at supposedly real time, and it creates things like work shifts and weekends, so that your traffic, instead of being kind of a constant flow of traffic, you get peaks and troughs. So you actually have rush hours in the morning when people are going to work. You get a rush hour in the evening when people are coming home from work. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It does slow the game down a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. For the first time, because I'm using real time, for the first time, I'm going to use a traffic manager mod, and you kind of need to, because junctions, they're going to have to be managed, roundabouts, things like that. We're going to have to control the use of crossings, whether traffic yields, whether there are traffic lights. Also controlling the lane change, like what lane goes to what lane when you're going through junctions and stuff. So Traffic Manager President Edition, going to be very important. Extra landscaping tools, because I do love my landscaping, by good old Bloody Penguin. I've used lots of his mods in the past. Precision engineering, that's a pretty standard one that I think most people get. This allows you to have a bit more information on like distances. So when you're drawing a mod, it shows you the distances, it shows you angles, stuff like that. So it's much easier to create things like geometric shapes and stuff. Whether I'll be doing geometric shapes, I don't know. Maybe, we'll see. If you'd like to see that, leave me a comment. Move It, the Move It mod. Never used this before. I've been the last couple of weeks, I've been spending a lot of time going through mods, play testing, and also learning how to use these mods. And Move It, I mean, Move It is just awesome. It literally allows you to move anything, anywhere, and it's just awesome. It's also great for things like leveling roads. So if you've got a bridge, you can select all of the nodes, all of the sections of that bridge, and just set them to all be the same height. Things like that. So Move It, awesome mod. Now Move It requires you, Move It requires you to have prop precision and prop and tree anarchy loaded up in order to use that. So that's and prop snapping, I think. Yeah, and prop snapping. And then the Fine Road tool. The Fine Road tool is kind of an awesome mod. And I have used this one. I think I've used this one before, or a similar mod. It allows you to do things in smaller steps. So instead of having to raise a bridge up in steps of, what is it? I think it's 3 meters. You can go up in like single meters, for example, or larger steps. And it allows you to do other things as well. So that's again going to be an important one, because getting around some of that steep territory, and with all of the railways that we're going to be putting in, having fine control of those kind of bridges where you're bridging railways over highways and stuff like that, it's going to be very important. That requires you to have Fine Road Anarchy loaded. Key Anarchy I'm loading because we're going to be doing a lot with keys, both on the coastline and also inland. I'm going to be using these to create tiered effects. But we're going to be doing a lot on the coastline. I think most of the coastline is going to have keys around it because it just looks so good. And then we're going to be adding lots of stuff onto that. When we go into the assets, I'll show you some of the assets that I'm getting to take advantage of that. And we'll be having like harbours and marinas and all kinds of stuff like that. Sharp junction angles. This just allows you to have sharper angles when you're creating junctions. And again, I think especially for the railways, that's going to be really important. And then more beautification. That just allows you to place props in game. Again, it's a very standard one, and another one of Bloody Penguin's mods, which he creates some freaking awesome mods for City Skylines. Right, should we have a look at the assets? Now, the assets, I've started picking up a few assets. I don't want to start with like a ton of assets, because in previous playthroughs, I've ended up picking up lots of assets that I haven't ended up using. So I'm going to be very selective about what assets I actually pick up. But I wanted to show you the kind of assets that I wanted to use. So the first one, this is something that, again, I would recommend for everybody to pick up. Actually underground power cables. So that instead of having power cables overground, you can actually run them underground, which is just awesome. The Aoni Bridge, the Rainbow Bridge, the Decorative Firs, and the Norway Spruce, these are all required by the Elena Falls map. And here is the Elena Falls map. If you want it, Oh, it is beautiful. I love it. And it actually gives you instructions. I love this as well. It gives you instructions about like where everything should be set up and like where things are. So where your drain points are, where your harbours should be. This is the artificial lake. There's the start tile. And here it shows you how to set up the dam. So this is where to place the dam. There's the bridge. And here are the 2 channels that you need to create. A couple of pictures. I love it. I mean, this guy puts a lot of effort into these maps, which I really appreciate. He's done a fabulous job on this map. Love it. He's going to be getting a 5 stars from me for sure. Down here, these assets, the flower, the bush, the lantana and the weeping willow and the Cadillac hearse, are for this building, the Crematorium Damien Metropole, which I've probably butchered with my horrendous accent. But you can see this is an awesome modern looking crematorium. And this is the kind of look that we're going to be going for. We're going to have, like, different areas are going to have different looks, but in general, it's going to be this kind of white, modern kind of look. That's the kind of thing we're going for. So if you're going to be suggesting building mods or building assets, this is the kind of stuff that I'd like to be picking up. Now, like I said, not exclusively. We are going to be having rural communities, and the rural communities don't necessarily have to look like this. I'm most likely going to be using one of the DLC mod packs, which is, I think it's European something, and I can't remember what it is. I've also got the high-tech one, the high-tech mod pack DLC. Yeah, I think it's European Suburbs is the one that I was thinking of. So yeah, we'll be using that, which is just like, that's just houses with like lots of hedges and stuff like that, which kind of looks nice. This grass tile is required for the Angel Hearth Columbarium. Now, this is awesome. Now, everybody knows that death care in City Skylines is always a freaking issue because you get loads of people die and you have to place crematoriums like all over the freaking place, unless you're using like cheap mods like the super crematorium or whatever. But this thing is incredible because this is supposedly a real world technology. You can see over. In fact, let's go in and take a look. Now this is again, it's a white big, you know, modern building which kind of fits in with my theme. But like, this is what it looks like inside, right? And it's it tells you down here how many. It's a big building. Where does it tell you? Oh, here you go. 27 floors above ground. It's also got 25 floors below ground. Okay. This building is used worldwide to store bodies and where cremation is a cultural norm. The lack of land and space fuels the need for a site where families can pay respects to their deceased, has led to the invention of giant mechanized columbarias, where thousands of urns are stored in a vault and can be retrieved so families can pay their respects. Nirvana boasts 12 such sites across Malaysia, Singapore and Indonesia, and has plans for more. Brazil's Memorial Necropole, I can't even say that, in Santos is 14 stories tall. So this is supposedly like a real world thing, and basically the urns are stored in these buildings and then they're retrieved so that the loved ones can go and pay their respects or whatever. But it's massive. It's absolutely massive, and it stores what I think it's like a quarter of I was going to say a quarter of a million. It stores almost a million remains, and the idea is that you, like, if you put one of these in the center of a tile, it'll just take care of everything. So now, will I be using these all over the map? No, but I'll certainly be using it where I've got like big cities or very large towns on the map. So that's a peachy thing. Love that. What else? The acacia tree is used by futuristic green apartments. Now, this is what I was meaning about being very modern, verging on futuristic. Now, this is futuristic, right? But I think it's reasonable enough that that we could include this in our cities. I don't know. I think it's probably going to be one of those things where I'm going to have to place it and actually see it in a specific location to decide whether it should be there or not. But it's a very cool building, and I do like it. And I'm sure that does look like a... That looks like an ass crack. I'm sorry, but it does. But I kind of... Yeah, we're definitely going to use that now. The ass crack building. Love it. Okay, so yeah, if you find other assets like this kind of thing... Quads assets I already know about, and I'm going to be using a whole bunch of quads assets. And I'm also aware of the super tall buildings because I used those in a previous one. So those I know about. But if you know of other kind of modern, verging on futuristic, I don't want anything too futuristic, but like that. I mean, there are plenty of buildings which are not dissimilar to this in existence right now. So that, yeah, I'd be happy to use that. What else? The solar power tower. I've used this before. This is just literally a source of solar power, and yeah, I've used them before, and they're kind of tall and white and shiny and kind of nice. So I'm sure I don't know. I don't know whether we will actually use those, but I think we'll probably use them, so I'm going to include them. Since Pearled Out, this is another example of the kind of residential building that I'm happy to include. This is very similar actually to one from SimCity 2013, and yeah. It's white, modern, exactly the kind of thing that I want to be using. This is Since Modern Subway. Now again, I've used this before, but this is perfect, I think, for what we want. This is, it looks really nice. It's glass, steel, modern, shiny, perfect. So again, stuff like that, absolutely. This is the Pearl Roundabout. Now these are the kind of assets that, like buildings and stuff, I'll be looking for, but this is the kind of thing that I can miss. So if you see things like this, definitely like drop me a comment and a link, because that is exactly the kind of thing that's perfect for putting in like in the center of a roundabout, or you know, in fact here it is. That's a badly done one. I think this one's a bit better. That one's much nicer. Right, and I think in that kind of setting, it's a great centerpiece for a roundabout. That's the kind of thing that we're going to be doing. There's going to be lots of sky candy. There's going to be lots of detailing going on in certain areas. We're definitely going to have a docks. There's going to be lots of mass transit stuff. So there's going to be like train stations and freight yards and stuff. There's going to be a lot of crossover from the transport series, like the EPEC transport series that I've done. I want to see, can City Skylines look as good as Transport Fever? And that's going to be an interesting challenge. We will see. One of the other mods, actually, that I should pick up is Surface Painter. And I will pick that one up. These train stations, now again, I used these train stations in the Aquitania series. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to be using these again. These are by Tobbs. Yes, by Tobbs. And I've actually reviewed some of Tobbs' mods in the past. I love these. They just look so good. But again, things like this, modern train stations, or just anything that looks good. It doesn't necessarily have to be modern, but if it looks good, if you think it's going to fit in, if it fits into what you think should be in a Wonderland, then yeah, let me know. Now this, the futuristic primary school. Now, as a primary school, I think it's terrible, but as a building in a modern, slightly futuristic city, I think it's freaking awesome. I think it looks just awesome. So again, am I going to be using this in a rural area? No, definitely not. But will I use it like maybe in a city? Oh, hell yeah. I think it could look really good. But it's the kind of thing that needs some detailing around the outside. It needs to have some playgrounds and stuff like that around it. So yeah, there's going to be lots of that going on. I'm looking forward to that. Curb props. Curb props. Now I picked this up because it's required for an asset lower down. But I think this is exactly the kind of thing that I want, to be able to do the kind of modern looking detailing that I want to have. So yeah, I think those are going to get used as props in their own right. But curb props generic tree pack are needed for the decorated key. And if we take a look at this, you'll see how it's used. It's used to put these pieces in. So when you put a key alongside the water. In America, I think you call these wharfs rather than keys. I don't know. Maybe not. But yeah, they just look really good. They've got these nice hedges as well along the edge. It just creates a really tidy edge to the water. And they look really nice at night with the lampposts all lit up. So there's going to be loads of that going on. And then if we go down, I've also picked up a steel wall key, which is more for like industrial areas. So where we've got docks for shipping cargo and stuff. I think this is much better looking for that kind of stuff. And then let's see. Now these piers, this is what I've started to pick up to use along with the like the decorated key and probably other keys that I'll use. But it's a bunch of piers to create things like this, like marinas and things. And I've got some other ones. This Pier Marina Club, for example, and very, very cool assets. Very cool assets. And this one, I think this is, yeah, this is the one. This creates some, you can create some really nice looking stuff with this set. With these multiple tiered keys and whatever. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of that going on. So there you go. That's the assets that I've picked up so far, just to kind of give you a flavour of where I want to go with the assets. If you've got any assets that you want to suggest, if you've got any mods in particular that you want to suggest, then drop me a comment. That's it for now. That's the preview. So you've seen the map, you've seen the mods and assets that I'm going to use. Now, really, it's just a case of start the series. So expect the series to be coming very soon. I hope you like this little preview. I hope you're looking forward to the series. Drop me a comment. I'll catch you for the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace out.